Well, we do sincerely apologize for that break. It was due to a technical glitch. But getting into the newspaper review segment, it's going to be an abridged one this morning. So we have the Punch with us, the Punch newspaper. I beg your pardon. And the banner headline here reads: Marketers eye fresh fuel price hike as crude hits $94. NATO plans price hike, raises concern over FG's insistence on 617 naira a litre petrol price. Operators insist petrol subsidy returning gradually. NNPCL gets 3 new VPs. And on top of the nameplate, we have Umahi woos presidency as contractors oppose concrete roads. 12.5 kg cooking gas price may hit 18,000 naira in December. FG Labour meets today on post-subsidy talks. And then when you go further down, I'm flattered.
You should be.
18. Sorry, let's 18,000 naira.
18,000 naira.
Where does that leave? Where does that leave the common man?
You keep talking about the common man every day, Moses. I don't know who is still common in this country. If indeed he had been common since 1960, has he not become uncommon by now? Or
That's
the common,
funny.
or the common by now. If you look at the matter in the details, there is really no direct reason why the price of gas should be up, cooking gas. Let me explain. The terminals are still getting steady supply of cooking gas to sell at the old rate or current rate or whatever it is.
9,000 naira.
But their argument is not supposed to. I bought gas. I bought that same cylinder, that 12.5 kg, whatever it's called, some weeks ago, maybe about a month ago now, or a little over a month ago, for 8,000 plus.
Well, I bought some weeks, some days back for 9.
Good. Now here's what's happening. It is the terminal operators who are arbitrarily raising the rate.
Oh, really?
Yes. For fear that, well, the reason they're giving is the fact that the rate of the dollar is going up. So it's not as if that business is directly impacted by the dollar problem. No. They are just saying that we belong to an ecosystem that includes dollar rating, other things. So we fear that if we keep on selling at the same rate that we are buying it, even if that rate has not changed, we will still be affected in one way. That's the reason why they are. And while I blame them on the one hand, how far can the blame go? Because after you sell gas, you buy fuel to power your station, or you buy fuel to power your car. Is that not so? The profit you make, you spend it on the
But should one affect the other, really?
Exactly, it shouldn't. Basically.
No, Moses. The price of gas is the same, but so let's say you make a profit of 100 naira per liter per kg you sell.
Sorry.
The rice you buy in the market, the price of rice has gone up.
But that affects everybody across board.
It does. But have you wondered why government has not stepped in as quickly as they should? The cabinet is in place. The regulators are up there. NNPC is there. The national gas and whatever, they're all there. The regulators are all there. Why have they not? Why doesn't government respond immediately? Why is government response not swift, not quick, not fast? What this news you're seeing is not even. It's coming from the marketers themselves. It is marketers who are crying out and saying, look, if the price of this thing goes up, don't put the blame on us. The problem is coming from the terminals, and I've not had any of the terminal owners, any of the big distributors come out to say anything. Of course, they don't talk. You won't hear them say anything like that overnight. So the challenge is, yes, we are in this economy, but if your supply side has not fluctuated or gone above this, why are you killing why are you trying to suffocate demand? Now the good thing is that this is September, and they are saying that this increase may come. Not December for me is even a bit too far. By the time you get to the end of October, middle of November max, panic buying, people traveling, all these
May
things
affect all of
Yeah.
that.
will definitely affect it.
What
And
is
to
the
think that-
substitute? Sorry. What is the substitute now? We can't use coal.
No,
Coal itself is expensive.
look, the man
Yeah.
the person who supplies me this
Gas.
told me what he did in his own house. This is a gas. This is a we like call him gas merchant or gas salesman. He told me what he did in his own house was that he had to now buy
Electric.
a hot plate to augment. But even the hot plate will be drawing electricity, which
If you now use
which has been criminally and dubiously inflated. So that when you buy your energy or your power card, you don't see the units you bought. They just put the price and the token and maybe the serial number of the transaction. You will never see how much the worth of the units you bought anymore.
It's really ridiculous. And to
So,
think that, yeah.
Look, in the end, this may just be the work of one man who is putting it here and taking it back from this side. That's why, ask yourself: do we look like an economy in which there is a government in which or you have a government and government is willing to actually put its foot down? Let me tell you, anytime, even if government came today to say you terminal operators take back, don't increase it, I won't take them seriously. This is the reason: government is not in place only to sit down and heal a wound after the injury has occurred. That's not the work of government. It is part of government's work to sit back and tell when something is likely to happen and prevent from happening. Why are the focus not in place? The president has appointed somebody who for many years used to be on TV analyzing the economy and so on. I hope these things will not elude them, because they should know. There are signs they should know these things, and nobody is talking about the fact the other headline you took. I think is yes.
Yeah.
And about fuel. Look, in spite of the fact that price of fuel may go up, has gone up to $1,000 in some places and so on, the reality is that is government bringing back subsidies surreptitiously
Without telling the people?
Nobody, without telling anybody, nobody can address that. See, they came and accused Buhari of running an economy that was terrible, an economy that was bad. The last time the economy had cause to breathe, had room to breathe, was under Jonathan. We know. Part of the propaganda the APC used against Jonathan in 2015 was the fact that former President Obasanjo made this spurious, very false and dubious claim on that was made the frontline, the banner headline on the national daily. He said the Nigerian economy was soon going to crash. Trouble was looming. Today, even President Tinubu's economic minister has said it, that the last time the economy did anything meaningful was under Jonathan. We know. Now, this is the problem. The difference between what happened before then and what has happened ever since after is the fact that they don't sit down to listen to experts. They just wouldn't. Normally, fuel price hike, gas price hike, diesel price hike, everything price going up. It shows that something is wrong. It means that the controls that ought to be acting as shocks for the people or for the economy are being compromised, are being taken away. What do you do? Look, what the president has done is that he had an advisor on revenue generation who has now been pushed over to become FIRS boss, right? Then he had a committee, some committee on economic management or so, that recommended that brought the idea of likely merging all the revenue collection arms of government. But it's beyond that. These are ad hoc things. Go to Harvard, go to Cambridge, go to Oxford, go to Benin, Uniben, go to Ibadan, go to Zaria, go to Uniport, go to Nsukka, go to these places. Look for the best your country has. Bring them together, put them in a room. You see, the way you run the economy in 1985 cannot be the same way you run it today.
Like somebody did say something.
Bring them together, get some fresh minds and say, guys, what exactly do you think we should do? And sincerely speaking, please implement everything they say. You see, the idea of thinking that you can fix the economics without talking about justice, for example, subsidy is coming back through the back door, and you can't take corruption out of it. Believe me, if paying subsidy this way, you cannot take corruption out of it. You cannot. You know why? When you want to give people money, even as charity organizations, you need people that can show you what they can do, or certainly what they've done, you know, what they've done. You have track record, you have the contacts, you have the network, you have the structure. In Nigeria today, only corruption can afford a lot of these things. It's true. Only corruption today in Nigeria can afford a whole lot of things. So you want
what do you say to the fact that how do you chime in on this? A lot of people have accused the president from picking people from a certain part of the country.
No,
Lagos.
So
and the West.
And in doing that, he is worse than who? They should compare him with his predecessor. This is all. They are one party. Leave the PDP out of this. Obasanjo didn't do it. Obasanjo is a Nigerian nationalist, whether he will admit it or not. By some measure, Obasanjo was someone who had friends across, a lot of parts of Nigeria. Even Jonathan couldn't do it. Of course, being a minority man, he needed, he had to rely a lot on people from the north, from the east, and from the west. Go and check. Jonathan had two spokesmen. They were Yoruba. He had an SJ who was Igbo, and he had a private secretary who was from the north. So you can't hold a gun to his head on that. Apart from Jonathan and Obasanjo, Yar'Adua was mostly, in fact, there was a particular headline in the news back then, 2005 or 6, 2007 or 8, where they said he was northernizing the whole country. It took Olusegun Adeniyi, his spokesman, to plead with him and say, allow this Igbo man become police IG. We've never had the but you see, under Buhari, everybody knew that Buhari could not think beyond Katsina and could not think beyond Daura. All his aides, everybody, even he said, when the pressure became much, he had to hide under the lie that he was looking for people who are competent and people that he knew. But even that was not true. So if you want to compare Tinubu, let's know who you're comparing him against. And for the life of me, I think that whether the president is legalizing Nigeria or not, the people he is appointing, until they've acted, we can't judge them, because in reality, Dr. Cardoso commands a lot of intellectual and industry sense. Adeleke is known. Wale Edun is known. All these people are known technocrats. If you hate them because they're the president's friends, you can hate them for that. But
they should deliver.
I mean, if they deliver, who cares?
All right. So this is how far we can stretch the newspaper review segment of the show. I must say a very big thank you to you, Cyril, for coming on the show this morning. Up next on VOP this morning, the president is out yet again, this time to New York for the 78th UN General Assembly Summit in the US, along with other world leaders. Now, let's talk about this when we return.
When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome back. You're still watching VOP this morning. Now, all road leads to New York for President Bola Tinubu and his Nigerian delegation as they attend the 78th edition of the United Nations General Assembly. The development was announced by the presidency in a statement released on Sunday afternoon. The president is expected to hold bilateral meetings with various world leaders, including Joe Biden, President of the United States, and von der Leyen, President of the European Union Commission, on the sidelines of the summit. President Tinubu's spokesman, Ajuri Ngelale, also disclosed that his principal would meet with the global president of Microsoft, Brad Smith, and the head of global affairs for Meta Technologies, Nick Clegg. He further stated that Tinubu's meeting with the duo would focus on strategies on how to improve Nigeria's digital transformation and leverage artificial intelligence. Joining us virtually to discuss this is Nick Agule, who is a public affairs analyst, and we also have John Akerele, who is a social commentator, right here with us virtually. Hello, Nick. Okay, kindly unmute your mic so we can hear you in the studio.
All right, John. Good morning to you, John.
Can you hear me?
Well, I believe
morning
John
to you.
can hear me. Okay, great. Okay. So, John, the president of Nigeria jets out to New York to attend the United Nations General Assembly. Now, the big question is, what exactly is Nigeria looking to, what exactly do you expect to hear from the president when he gives his statement, his speech?
Well, for me, I want to hear things like what the administration is doing in terms of security. I want to hear where we are in terms of economy. What are the potentials that are yet to be explored? I want to hear the plans on things that they are working on as an administration in terms of the infrastructure, because it's another thing for you to bring in foreign direct investment. It's another thing for you to have it sustained in the system, you know. So, but if he is bringing all of those things, just like the president have said, that is like the #1 marketer of the country, and is going all out there to market Nigeria to the people. But marketing Nigeria to the people as against the reality on ground is just like pouring water into an empty basket, you know. So for me, I think critical areas should be looked in terms of the area of security, in terms of the area of economy, in terms of the area of empowerment, job creation. These are the areas they ought to be talking about, because if you're looking at the SDG goals, how are we as a country faring in terms of SDG goals? You know, you see that we are not there yet. And so what are the stumbling blocks that this administration must have identified as things that are not helping past administrations to hit the SDG goal, from goal 1 to goal 17? What are those stumbling blocks? These are things I think the president should be talking about as the UNGA, and also to reposition Nigeria, you know, in terms of earning the trust of the world, that yes, you must have had a relationship with us in time past, and it was not a sweet one, but we are, you know, we want to build more trust. We want to reignite the trust and make sure that this administration mean well for the people and show the transparency and accountability in that regard. I think we can be trusted. So that's what I think the president should be saying. Repositioning Nigeria, building back that trust, giving us that standing as a giant of Africa that we ought to be to the global players. And I think that's what he should be doing. More of image revamping, image realignment, in terms of all that we stand for as a people and as a country, even as a continent. That's what I think he should be doing.
All right, Nick. Good morning once again. I believe that you can hear me clearly, Nick Agule. Now, Nick.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Great. Yes, I can hear you too. Now, how important is it for Nigeria to be attending the UNGA this time around? How important is it?
It's important for Nigeria to attend because this is a gathering of world leaders, and Nigeria should not be seen to be absent from the international scene. And so our president attending himself puts Nigeria on the global stage. This is the first time that President Tinubu is attending as president of Nigeria. So it also serves as an introductory meeting for him to meet with global leaders. I mean, instead of jetting out to individual countries to go and meet global leaders, meeting them in one place in New York is a bonus. However, like my co-panelist said, I think if we look at the presidential spokesman statement, the highlight of it is that our president is meeting with captains of industry, specifically naming Microsoft. It is good because the digital economy is what is actually taking over the world now. So for the president to now be meeting with the likes of Microsoft is good. But just like my co-panelist said, look, if you don't make your house to be neat enough, no matter how you try to attract visitors to your house, they are not going to come because of the unkempt nature of the house, because of the filthy nature and stench coming out from the house. Nigeria has not put her house in order when it comes to business. It is very surprising that at opportunities like this, which is like the UN General Assembly, the president, based on the statement issued by his spokesman, is not focusing on some of the basic things that are worrying us. And for me, we keep saying this thing. It actually beggars belief that no Nigerian president believes that something like power supply is a problem of the economy. If Microsoft comes to Nigeria, are we expecting them to run on generators? If they run on generators with diesel at 850 or so naira, it will be more expensive for them to do business in Nigeria than to do it in Ghana or in Rwanda. So they would rather go to those places than come to Nigeria. So I think we have a lot of housekeeping that needs to be done. And we expect our president to be seeking global support for matters like power supply, security, which my co-panelist has already made, agriculture, infrastructure, and things like that. These are very basics. We have to get these basics right before we can have conversations with the Microsofts of this world.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much. John Akerele, what do you think are some of the challenges or opportunities that Tinubu may encounter while attending the UNGA? And secondly, the presidency has been said to have planned to utilize or leverage on artificial intelligence. How far do you think this would help Nigerians when it comes to development?
Thank you very much for that question. And this is where it saddens my heart when people make such statements. Let me ask you, and let me ask those that make such statements, the potentials that comes with 5G network, have we even utilized it? That's a question to be answered. So if you are talking about countries that are using 5G now, what is the potential that 5G has? And how are they maximizing it? We as a country, have we even utilized 10% of the potentials embedded in 5G network? The answer is no. So if you cannot be able to do that, and you are now pursuing AI, it's just like a shadow in the dark. So why is it that we're not able to harness those potentials that comes with 5G network? It is based on infrastructural defects. Okay? And one of it is steady power supply. So this is why I said that the president needs to have, bring up a roadmap in terms of generation of electricity, in terms of transmission, in terms of distribution. See, put this plan on paper, write it clear, let the people see it with your ministers, let the people see that this in the next 3 months, this is what we want to do in terms of power. These are the alternative power sources we are looking at. When you bring in Microsoft into the country, would they also import their own generator and diesel as well? These are things that are inhibiting factors that does not, make some of these things to work smoothly. So we need to look at those areas. In terms of the technical skills, do we have those technical skills? No, we don't have. Okay, are you looking at a scheme that you can have transfer of knowledge? So these are simple questions, simple parameters that should be looked into before we say, let's bring in these investors. Because when they come, these are things that are working in other clans on the world. Why? Because they have steady power supply. So can we increase our own generation? 5,000 for me is not something you should be proud of. It's not something you should even say on a global stage, because a city in America generates more than that. Okay? So what we should look at is, what are those factors that are inhibiting constant generation of power? Can we solve those ones so that we can increase our generation? If we're able to increase our generation, can we increase our distribution network? Can we increase our transmission network? Can we be able to even account for the number of electricity that we generate and we transmit and we distribute? Do you understand? And once you have that, 80% of your digital economy is solved. Why? Because all of the digital economy runs on electricity. So if you're looking at your laptops, you're looking at your tabs, you're looking at your mobile phone, your smartphones, you need to charge them constantly. All right. And so in a case where you're working in an office and you have constant power supply, if you have to resume 8 o'clock and close by 4, means you have 8 hours uninterrupted power supply. That will increase your productivity. Okay. And with that, you have more hours spent on a particular software or a particular device you're using. And so you also increase your expertise skill and level. So these are things that I think the president and the people who are actually doing this PR, I see it as a work of PR. It's a good job, but behind the PR, can we also put in the fundamentals to make sure that when people come to do a background check, they see that what we are saying is what's already on ground? So they should look at those areas that should be worked upon before going on these visits. If you ask me, I would just say the president should come out naked before the world leaders and let them know that this is where we have a deficiency and this is where we need help, even in terms of SDG goals. Why are we not achieving our SDG goals in the country? These and these are the problems we're having, and these are the ways world leaders can come to our rescue to help us if they see the transparency and the sincerity of purpose of the government of the day.
All right then, PR. That's how John puts it. Nick, let me quickly come to you now. Now, this kind of PR, Nigeria looking to, the president of Nigeria talking to executives of Microsoft and Meta, to leverage artificial intelligence and improve Nigeria's digital transformation. Is that what the president should be doing, really? Don't we have a minister that should be pursuing this, on the side, reaching out to these people and doing what the Ministry of Digital Economy should be doing, as against the president doing this? Nick, please.
Well, to my own opinion, there is nothing wrong for the president of Nigeria to have high-level meetings.
All right, we seem to have a frozen network there. Well, if John, okay,
of what needs to be done.
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So
All right, Nick. Now there's a break there. There's a break in the. We can't
So
hear
what's
you.
okay for the president of Nigeria to have me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes. So what I was saying.
All right. Well, I would like to believe that if John is still with us,
the president of Nigeria sit, and then the nitty gritty is what is then done at the ministerial level.
Might want to relocate from that.
all right then. All right then. Well, the bottom line is he said the nitty gritty. The president can go ahead and do this, but the nitty gritty is what the minister will not have to handle. So the president is laying the ground for the minister to
follow through on.
Yeah.
Well, that's a way to look at it. That's a way to look at it. Nick, can you still hear us? Okay. All right. John Akerele, are you still with us?
Well, John is on.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
What it is.
So, how
the
does
high-level meeting is hard, and the ministerial.
Oh, okay. Nick, I don't know if you could find a better location because the network from there is seeming.
What you know what's going to happen? Let's stay with John on this one now.
Okay.
Now, John, let's look at last year. Former President Muhammadu Buhari was at the 77th UNGA, and he did make. He gave his own speech. He was the first actually to give a speech, and that was a significant one because it was the first time United Nations General Assembly were meeting after the COVID era, where they had virtual meetings. Now, in that meeting, part of the things former president talked about was I'm going to just take an excerpt from his speech there. He said, ours is a vast country strengthened by its diversity and its common values of hard work, enduring faith, and a sense of community. We have invested heavily to strengthen our framework for free and fair elections. I thank our partners for all the support that they have provided our election institution. And then, all right. And then he goes on to say, as president, I have set the goal that one of the enduring legacies I would like to leave is to entrench a process of free, fair, and transparent and credible elections through which Nigerians elect leaders of their choice. Now that was at the last summit, the 77th summit, where he talked about the elections. Now, seeing the cloud hovering around current president's electoral results, the emergence of the president, how do you think the international community will perceive the president as he steps up to give his speech?
Thank you very much, Moses, for that question. And when people like us come on TV stations and radio stations or different platforms to hear our views, and as commentators and as analysts say some things, maybe Nigerians will understand why we are saying these things. Now, this is it. Don't also forget that these world leaders that the president is going to meet in New York also had their delegation come observe the election. And some of their delegation also sent a report to Abuja. And a copy of the report will also be sent back to their country that sent them on that errand. And so there is a PR image, there is a reality image on ground. And these two conflict each other. And so that already is what I'm saying, that as a country, we should learn how to do things the proper way so that people do not take us for a fool or just give us lip services. Don't forget that in New York, he will be meeting the president of European Union. And don't also forget the case of European Union reports that they brought against this present election that just got concluded. And you see that the report of the European Union is not a sweet one that goes down the throat of this present administration. So how will the president who emerge from that same process be meeting the president of European Union that the body issued a report, and the president of European Union would have received a copy of the report of Nigerian election? Do you understand? So he must have been aware of some of those things in the report and looking at the president of today. So I see that it's going to be a little bit of distrust, mistrust, or untrust, whichever English you want to use to classify this word in that regard. But they will just come and play the normal TV gimmicks, in terms of shaking hands, making pronouncements, making declarations. But behind those declarations is where you see the seriousness of the government as to what they will do. Presently is in the New York now, and then we expect that he will come up with something good out of the meeting. But then the political will that follows every statement, that is where I find it a bit confusing and dicey for me. Because on one hand, you have a union that issued a report about the election that brought you in as a president. On the other hand, you are meeting them and you are talking about repositioning. You are talking about gaining trust, which was not earned initially. So you see that if you look at the team of the UNGA this time around and the election that we are talking about, there is a kind of closeness in terms of the topic or the theme of this year's UNGA.
Yes.
And that's where
just for
I find it very
emphasis.
interesting.
So sorry to interrupt you. Just for emphasis, so our listeners get to know what the theme exactly is. The theme is rebuilding trust and reigniting global solidarity. Yeah.
So you see that rebuilding trust, that is the particular phrase I'm picking out of it, the theme. Rebuilding trust, which means that trust must have been broken in time past. And I think that is where this administration, comes in terms of the EU reports about our election. And there's a connection between these two things, and that's what I think we should work on.
All right then. Well, if we don't have Nick on, we'll just have to stay with you, John. If you know. All right, so we do understand that Nick Agule is back online with us.
All right, Nick, what do you think are the expectations of Nigerians, regarding Tinubu's participation at the UNGA? Nick, did you hear me, please? Can you unmute?
Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you now. I said, what are the expectations of Nigerian people? Yes, can you hear me? Okay. Okay.
Yes. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can. So did you get the question? Okay.
I got the question, which is what are our expectations now that the president is off to New York?
Exactly.
And my answer to that is that for us in Nigeria, we are still suffering with the basic necessities of life. The other day, I was having a conversation with someone or in a WhatsApp group. There's a Nigerian that left for Canada, and then he was now advising people that if you are comfortable in Nigeria, don't japa. And I was telling people that, by the way, it is people who are comfortable in Nigeria that are japaing. Because, number one, if you are not comfortable, how can you even raise the visa fees and the flight tickets to Japa? And that people who are comfortable, they are jackpot because there are some basic things that you can't find in Nigeria. You have your money. Sometimes you wake up, you go to a petrol station, you just see that there are queues, no petrol. You have your money, you have your house, but you cannot sleep with your both eyes closed because of security issues. You come back home tired, you want to switch on your fan or AC, the light has gone. Your children are going to school that they are taking so much money from you, and yet you are not getting the value. You are sick and you are going to medical facilities that are nowhere. Those basic things are the things that make comfortable Nigerians abandon their jobs, their businesses, and just flee abroad. And for us, our expectation is that when the president is at an international stage, like the UN General Assembly, he should be trying to draw global support that will come in here and help us. You know, there are huge investor funds floating around the world looking for areas where they will make a landfall. And Nigeria is a beautiful bride because, number one, with more than 200 million people, that means we are a big market that any global investor will not ignore. Number two, we have a young, virile, fairly educated population that is ready to work. You know, the jobs are not there. You know, we have the natural resources that can be tapped. You know, we are on the equator, meaning we're near the equator, meaning we have the sunlight for 8 to 10 hours a day. This sunlight that we take for granted in other places like in Europe, North America and co, when they see the sunlight, they are happy that the sun has come out. Oh, they are celebrating that the sun has come out. You know, so we have all these things, and our expectation is that we want our president to just say, look, we need help. You guys should come in. I will provide an enabling environment, a level playing field. I will keep the house clean, and I want you guys to come and help develop Nigeria.
All right, Nick. Yes, still on you. The president has been making a whole lot of trips, you know, from the G20 to the G77 and now, you know, to the General Assembly. What exactly can we say, you know, about the measure of these trips? You know, like what are the impacts of these numerous trips on Nigeria presently? How can we measure it?
I think the trips are becoming too many. I didn't even have the calendar of the UN General Assembly in my head. So I didn't know that a General Assembly was upcoming. If a General Assembly was upcoming, it was needless for the president to have gone to the G20 summit. Because the same leaders he went to meet in the G20 summit are going to be in New York. So the president needed to have exercised discretion by saying, look, we are in difficult times in Nigeria. Inflation is biting, unemployment, you know, and all of that. But this president is taking steps that doesn't show that he is ready to tighten his belt, just as he's telling Nigerians to do so. If the president went to the UN General Assembly, he would have met all the global leaders there. And then we are not talking about the president still appointing more ministers. Yesterday we were told that the president appointed two more ministers.
Two more, yeah.
The good thing is he appointed ministers for youth who are under 40. I think for the first time in our history. That is the first time this kind of thing has happened. So I give him kudos for that. But that makes it 47 ministers. This is just too much. This is just too much. We should be looking at the constitution being changed, where right now, Nigerian constitution says a minister must come from every state of the federation, making them 36. Even that US where the president is now, I think they have only like 15 departments, which are headed by ministers. A whole United States, you know. So a United States budget is in the trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars. Our budget is just $20 billion at the federal government. And when you have 45 ministers, you divide 20, it's not even enough for them to pay their salaries, travel, stay in hotel, and do. That is why we are not seeing development. We are spending all the money on recurrent expenditure. The president should show that, look, he is also with Nigerians in terms of tightening our belt. Look, he doesn't have to appoint loyalists as ministers. There are many other jobs at the federal level, the NIMASAs, the MPAs, the NNPCs, where he can put people in. He mustn't say they are ministers that increase the cost of running ministries and the bureaucracy. So our expectations are just basic things in Nigeria, very basic things. We just want education, healthcare, water, electricity, good roads, train, all that. Simple. Let the president bring this back for us.
Expectations there for the president. Now, let me quickly come to John now. John, we do understand that in Nigeria currently and in West Africa, there are a lot of insecurity issues going on. Coups, in West Africa. Nigeria itself is having major insecurity. Just the other day in Port Harcourt, we saw a group of young men call themselves a certain cult, headed by one Tubaba, showing off on social media, carrying guns. And one would wonder, are we now in a banana republic? But here we are. The president presiding over Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and going to UNGA, United Nations General Assembly. How can he gather support for Nigeria in particular, in terms of security support, and Africa, Western Africa in particular now? What can he do to attract that support when it comes to security? John, please.
Thank you very much, Moses. I think the first thing is that if you don't clean your house properly, nobody will help you to clean it. And so many of these foreign leaders is going out there to meet, even have way more knowledge about the Africa he is living in, more than him. So if you are looking at the ECOWAS region, is he also in that capacity as the chairman of ECOWAS, speaking to other African country leaders, those who are of the seat-type mentality, those who are bringing in this nepotic appointments? These are some of the things that bequeath Africa and begat poverty. How do you, as a president, nominate your son as a minister? We were about to have something of sort too, but thank God that the president, in his wisdom, did not go that route, because we would have just seen a kind of a Tinubu as a minister of youth, but that didn't happen. Anyway, but there was a projection in that regard, but because the outcry was out there, so you should shift and ask yourself, these other countries you are going to seek for, solicit for help from, how do they say because the prime minister is an Irobo man, does he now appoint his son-in-law or his daughter-in-law as a commissioner or as a minister in the cabinet? No. You see, until Africa starts to appoint leaders based on capacity, competence, and capacity, we will never get it right. Not only in Nigeria, the whole of Africa as a whole. Because you see somebody who has been in leadership for 15 years, for 10 years, and there's no economic improvement. And I think that is what the president should learn from in this administration. You have appointed 47 ministers. That is too much. But I think also in reducing the cost of governance, if before now, a ministry get about 14 billion, can we cut that to 7 billion? Can 7 billion be cut down to 3.5 billion? So even if you still maintain the number of ministries that you have, but the money that goes on to largesse and wastages can be reduced drastically. I mean, sure that money that are expended are money for capital projects that will be evident and that will increase the economic activity and the economic stability of the country. And that is the only way to go. That's on one angle. On the other angle is that the Western world leaders are also watching Africa closely, and they say it in their word that we are monitoring the situation on ground in Africa. What does that mean to you? It means that they have their eyes, their leg, their ears on ground in Africa. And before the news gets to even our own local stations, they already got the news. How do they get that? They have their intel here. So the interest we are pushing for them to say, come and help us, they already know that they have got more to gain from us than we will gain from them. And so it's on that path that African leaders, including my president, should understand that we need to get it right, position the country on the right track so that in no time from now, we can have a country we can build for ourselves and we can call our own. So you have appointed your ministers. In 6 months, if there's no if there's no progression, if there's no something viable that you can point out that, okay, in 6 months, we used to be here, now we are here. 6 months to 1 year, each ministry cannot give you their progress reports. I think such a minister should be fired. And that's when people will understand that when you are given that job, it's about delivering, it's about, giving achievement, giving scorecards, giving results. That's why you're a minister. If not, it will also be business as usual. That's on one hand. On the other hand, is that the issue of bloated budgets, the issue of, kickbacks from contracts should also be looked into, because these are some of the issues that make us to have all these bogus figures. How come you say you're a minister, your monthly allowances is not up to million, and you are getting a car of 200 million, a 250 million. Where is that 250 million coming from? These are questions that we should be asking, and that falls down to the issue of having a strong institution. How come in Japan, in Korea, in China, a minister cannot just purchase a vehicle of such an amount, even though they are the producer of these vehicles? So you ask yourself, what will a 300 million vehicle do to Innocent if you have 10 people who are buying 300 million vehicle? Moses, that's a lot of money.
Money indeed.
Okay, if that money comes into our local market, do you know the kind of job it will create? If we have a decree for those in the House of Assembly and saying all of our senators, even from the president, saying that I, as a president, and all of my cabinet members, all you must eat and wear must be made in Nigeria. And the Senate leader says that the same pronouncement. The Speaker of the House says the same pronouncement. All ministers say the same pronouncement. All permanent secretaries, all governors, all local government chairmen, all state of assembly members. Do you know what that will do to us in terms of local production? Do you know what will generate as a people? Then these are the indices that these foreign investors will see and say, for a fact, Nigeria is indeed the global market in Africa, the global force in Africa. And if we must get into Africa, we must get into Nigeria first. They know that truth, and that is why they are not taking us serious, because they have not seen the seriousness on our own part as a people. So I think going forward, the president is number one image person of the country, and he should be seen from his even working step to see that as this person who is upright, who knows what he's doing, who has a scorecard, and who is taking his time based on achievements from each minister and of cabinet members. And if they're not working, they are replaced. That is where we can see that truly is really committed to his statement, is working it out, and is ready to make changes as against his predecessors.
All right, then. Thank you very much, John. Now, let me come to Nick quickly. Nick, as you give me your final thoughts on this one, I would like you to consider. I want to know, Nick, are you excited? Are you excited that President Joe Biden has said that, look, the president of Nigeria is the only person he wants to see and have conversations with at the United Nations General Assembly? Are you excited at that? Now, as you respond to that, let me know what you think the president can do to, grab this opportunity right now. What are the things that he should do to grab this opportunity? Because it is an opportunity. If the president of the US is saying, look, this is the man I want to talk to.
First and foremost, we have a new situation in Nigeria now. Asia spokesperson, I think he has added chief to his name now. Chief Aju, fond of issuing statements that this or that has happened, and the other parties have never issued such statements. We are just on the Emirates and UAE visa ban lifting. So he came out and issued a statement and said the UAE have lifted the visa ban. Emirates will soon resume flight, and the UAE government and the Emirates, haven't equally said same. Yeah, and it is the same with this US president saying that he's going to meet only with the Nigerian leader. We have heard that only from the presidential spokesman of Nigeria. We have not heard a similar statement from the US government to say that for UN General Assembly 78, President Biden is only meeting with Nigeria's president. I think the presidential spokesman is fast losing credibility. People who are close to him should advise him. I know that he has come into a big job and the team might be entering his head. He should take it easy. So for me, I put no value to the fact that there's a statement from the presidential spokesman that President Biden will only meet with the president of Nigeria. There is no way President Biden will take his time and go to New York, and he's going to meet only with one president from Nigeria. By the way, it is in the news that President Zelensky of Ukraine is going to meet with President Biden. During this General Assembly. So I put absolutely no value on it. All we want is that we want the president of Nigeria to come back with goodies in his bag for us. And I've already mentioned one person who met with President Biden or other world leaders also met with President Biden is bad for us. That's the important thing to us.
Well, I didn't exactly get the last thing you said there. Did you say it's bad for us?
No, he's.
Well, oh, okay. Well, let's keep you, gentlemen, as we go on to the second part of the show. Well, Governor Adeleke escapes death narrowly in what would have been an air crash, but could have gone wrong. Well, details of this when we come back. This is the conversation that we'll pick up when we come back from this break.
When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning
Excuse me. Well, Governor Adeleke of Osun State and his aides have survived a potential aircraft crash after the engine of the private jet they boarded was discovered to be faulty. Now, the incident was reported to have taken place on Tuesday, September 5, 2023, at the Murtala Mohammed Airport on a Bombardier Global Express 6000 owned by billionaire businessman Chief Adeleke, father of the music icon David Adeleke, the one a lot of us know as Davido'. Now, a source close to Adeleke revealed that the jet had not taxied with Adeleke and his aides when a loud sound was heard from its engine. And according to sources, engineers swiftly examined the engine and discovered that it was faulty. The flight was immediately aborted to avert any disaster as a result of engine failure. Now, passengers were then evacuated from the aircraft. Now, still with us to make sense of this, we have Nick Agule and John Akirile. both social affairs commentator. All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for staying with us on this one. Um, Let me start with you, John. I'll get your thoughts too, Nick. But John, let me start with you on this one. Now, the governor is, investigations are on. Yes, investigations are on. The governor has said the governor is alleging sabotage. All right, he's saying, look, um, if it was a bed nest that was in the engine, bed nests are made of straws, not wires. What they found in the engine were wires. All right. So he's alleging sabotage. Now, sabotage on this level, does this look like, can we say, an assassination attempt or negligence? Where do we peg this kind of incident? John, please.
Well, I think you can get such a statement because we are Nigerians, and most of the time we are religious in our approach. And if anything happens to anybody, the first thing we look at it is to look at it as an attack, either from village people or from your family or from friends who do not like you. You call them your frenemies. That's where the attack is coming from. But in other clans, they don't think it that way. If something like that must have happened, when are you flying? When was the last maintenance done on that jet? When was the last flight that jet, was boarded? So these are questions in terms of maintenance culture. So if that maintenance culture is not being there, don't let us attribute every fault that comes from our, aviation section into spirituality. Ordinarily, if that jet was functional and had the last flight maybe on Monday or on Tuesday, and then the pilots would have been saying to you, while we are coming, I think one of our engine is not really good. And then the maintenance unit, would have seen that engine and then look at what they can do to fix that engine before the next flight. But it can only happen in our own country. So what I'm seeing here is not sabotage. He might think as a politician that maybe people that wants to have his life ended are the ones in charge of that. But in a good country where maintenance culture is top notch, you would have known that engine, first engine is working, second engine is not working. And then you would have been shifted to the next jet or the next flight, so that which is fit to fly. And then you can fly. But in our own case, we don't even check if the aircraft is fit to fly in the first place. We just said we are on the flight, we want to fly, and then we fly. But the question we should ask is that aircraft fit to fly? If it's fit to fly, then you can go. If that aircraft have been certified to be fit to fly and something of this nature happen, that is when you can say there is a sabotage. There are saboteurs who want your life, to be cut short. But in a case where it is not even certified fit to fly, then I don't think that is sabotage, but rather it's more of negligence, I don't care attitude, this attitude of no maintenance culture that has been ingrained in our bloodstreams and our vein as a people. And that should be taken out. And so that is what I see here, not spirituality attached to it at all.
So, Nick, what are your thoughts, really?
Um, my thoughts are that uh, before a flight takes off, you will see the pilots. They will step down or come from wherever they are. They do a pre-flight check of the flight. They go around the aircraft. I have observed that severally. They go around the aircraft, they check everything, and they look into the engines. If there was any sabotage and wires in the engine, so there are only two possibilities. It's either these pilots failed to do the pre-flight physical external inspection of the aircraft, or there was nothing like that. But for me, this is not something that should be subject to speculation.
Okay.
Anytime there is an incident with an aircraft in Nigeria, we have a body that is called the Accident Investigation Bureau. They move in, they are trained experts, they do the investigation, and the report comes out. So when matters like this come, it is for us all to exercise patience, to allow the AIB to do their work, because when we start speculating and politics is now being mixed up in the whole fray, a lot of nerves can now be tempers can flare, and we're in Nigeria now where everybody is suffering. I mean, majority of people are suffering from all the harsh economic realities. We don't want to be having any sort of conflict where party faithfuls will be at daggers drawn with each other in terms of an incident like this. So this is in the realm of professional accident investigation, and let that happen as quickly as possible.
All right. So while we wait for the report, if the public will be made aware of that report, actually, but it would be nice if the public is made aware of the results of the reports on the accident. Now, while we wait for that, let's speak a little to maintenance culture. Now, John did touch on it a bit. We know how. I mean, Nick, you're a frequent traveler, so you know very well how things are done. We've had cases where the airports have been said to be the terminals at the airports have been said to be in a terrible state with bad smell, overcrowded. But now, there's been a movement to a newly built terminal, and Nigeria is trying to rebrand its image, especially since that is a major entry point into the country. So, what has been perceived when people step into the country, what has been perceived at the airports goes a long way in determining the mindset of those coming into the country as to what to expect in their relationships with Nigerians. Now, there's a new Minister of Aviation and Aerospace, Nick. Let's dovetail to that aspect now. What are the things that you would, in your opinion, would want the minister to pay attention to in terms of putting things in proper perspective, so that we will not have issues of terminals looking terrible or aircrafts not properly taken care of and lives being in danger? Maintenance. Keyword here. Nick, please. I'm staying with you, Nick.
Yes. So maintenance is a very important thing when it comes to aviation, because we cannot afford to make mistakes when it comes to aviation. A plane is not like a car that if you don't maintain it and it breaks down, you can clear and park on the beside the road and then call mechanics or technicians to come and fix it. A plane, if anything goes wrong, that plane is coming down. And when that plane comes down, it's a box full of fuel and other combustible materials. It's as good as the people who are on board that plane, their fate is determined. And let me commend the Nigerian aviation sector, because there was a time when planes were falling off the skies in Nigeria very frequently. You wake up in the morning and you hear that ADC has gone down, Bayview has gone down, Sodiso has gone down, like that. Some of those crashes were coming from lack of maintenance or technical errors that were made, possibly people not doing what they were supposed to do, cutting corners and things like that. Part of the crashes also came from pilot errors. Like I remember the ADC crash in Abuja that took the life of the Sultan of Sokoto. The pilot was told that the weather was bad, but he still went ahead and attempted a takeoff, and he just crashed immediately. But we have not, for a number of years now, we have not had, apart from the military aircraft, they've been coming down anyway. But for civilian aircraft, there has been less of accidents, which is commendable. So we just have to keep up with the maintenance culture. The Minister of Aviation, this is one area he must ensure that Nigerian travelers who are who are patronizing the airlines have these airlines to do what they need to do. You know, you try to think about the likes of British Airways. I mean, British Airways has been flying into Nigeria possibly before our independence. Has anybody one day heard about British Airways flight having a problem? But they fly daily into Abuja, daily into Lagos. So that is the kind of maintenance for our local airlines as well, where they can operate with zero accident for decades upon decades.
Very well, Nick. Okay, all right. John Akirele, you're still with us, right?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this kind of disasters, you know, of course they are fatal in that, you know, of course, plane accidents are such that, you know, there are usually no survivors. Now, can we link this? This is just me thinking out loud. Given the way the governor Adeleke got into power with all the issues that surrounded, you know, his election and every other thing, you know, can we link this to more like a sabotage in that, you know, like link it to maybe the opposition or something, because this is supposed to be a private plane, so it is owned by the Adelekes, so to speak, you know. So having it have, you know, something, have faults, you know, that were not detected before then, you know, do you think that there might be some kind of sabotage?
Well, if you look at the kind of politics that we play in our own zone, our own part of the world, that would be the first thing that would come to your mind, because some people are not happy, and that's why with the result of the election, and that's why they had to go to tribunal. And even when the result came from tribunal, they had to go to the Supreme Court, you know, and it was when the Supreme Court gave a verdict that they had to rest their case. But be that is me, they will not still rest on their oars. They will still be vibrant opposition. And it is so sad because the kind of politics we play is a politics of the winner takes it all. Until we come to that point where we look at it that even if you are the winner, we have an all-inclusive kind of government where it's not, you know, sided, line-sided government where it's only your party or your party faithfuls that get benefit of democracy as against the people. So that is what you always get. But for me, the jet is owned by the Adelekes, but then the Adelekes are not the pilots, they are not the maintenance crew, they are not the cabin crew, which means that you have other people who are external people who are not the Adelekes, and those people can also be compromised looking at our own system and our kind of terrain that we operate in. So if you are looking at it as a sabotage, and people look at it that, okay, yes, you know, people always say that don't allow your trust to be tested, because once it is tested with some huge amount of money, you might be able to see that you fall a prey. And so maybe a cabin crew member must have been promised, you know, just do this, somebody will know that you are the one that did it, and they will pay this amount of money. And then if that loss leads to the failure of the jets in the airspace and leads to crashing, then the governor would have been the death by now, and that would have been the aim of those people who wanted that to be done. So I think it's the kind of policy that we play, and this should also serve as a pointer to us that the kind of politics we should be playing is that winner does not take it all. Have opposition in your own team, and let's see how you can serve the people in the utmost interest of the people. Because when you win an election and the people do not really get the dividends of that democracy, then you have only wasted people's time, wasted their mandates, wasted the resources, and some people will still come hunting for you. So for me, it's not more of sabotage, but it's more of negligence, that lack of maintenance culture, which we should check. Go to other clans. You see that when they want to do something, they do it as if their life, you know, depends on it. And that is the service. You know, can we have such a service also back home from the airport where the custom is not asking you, okay, what did you bring for us? As if it's not being paid salary. These are things that we should check. Okay, look at the new terminal that has been commissioned now. I give you 10 years from now, go and check the new terminal. You will see that as it is now, it's shining The floors are, everything is new. The AC is working. The fan is blowing. Go and check there 6 months, and you see that not all the fan will be working. Not all the lights will be working.
John,
Who is in charge of
I
that
pray that we
maintenance?
disappoint
And that is
you
what.
on that one. I pray that we disappoint you on that one. I pray, yes, I pray
Because countries
that
don't pray. This is no matter. This is not a matter of prayer. This is a matter of prayer. It's not prayer that makes light to work.
well,
There's a maintenance culture that must be imbibed in people. It's not by prayer. So please leave prayer aside, I beg. No, bring that prayer here. And we must tell Nigerians that when things must be done, let it be done. Don't bring spirituality into it. If light is not working at the airport, it's not the time for you to say you want to pray and fast. Fasting will not on the light. What will on the light
this is
is
a new
constant
one.
maintenance culture.
This is a new
Bulbs
one,
needs to be
and we
changed.
do hope
Change the bulb.
that it will be maintained properly. That's our hope. So let's get your final thoughts on this, and then we'll take Nick's final thoughts as well. Quickly, please.
All right, my final thought is just about people back home, that let's see that anywhere we find ourselves as a service provider, let's provide a service that the people are paying for. And don't expect anything in return. Just do your job the way you have to be done and leave the reward to come to you thereafter. God bless Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria. God bless you too, John Akirili. Nick Agule, let's have your final thoughts as well on the topics shared so far. On this one, because I
Well, my
final thoughts on the other one. Go ahead, please.
my final thoughts, riding on the beautiful submission by my co-panelist John, is that in Nigeria, we are praying too much. Nigeria. As much as we are praying in Nigeria, Nigerians are saying, I don't want this place of prayer. They are jackpying to places where people don't pray. So please, let us go to heaven. It's not meant to provide electricity or food or infrastructure. Those who have been elected, those who have been appointed, those who are running business, let us all just know that currently we are on stage in Nigeria as the actors, and let us just do our work. In 1960, when we got our independence, they are no longer on the stage, and for us too, one day we will no longer be on the stage. So let us make our impact and leave a legacy that when we exit the stage, they will say, this generation helped take Nigeria from point A to point B.
Well, thank you very much, Nika Gule. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your contributions there. And also big thanks to John Akirili. We totally appreciate you, man. Thank you. Now let's go to business now, very, very quickly. Now, gas retailers have warned that the price of 12.5 kg cooking gas may hit 18,000 naira by December if the federal government does not restrict the activities of the terminal owners. Now, the president, Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers, Osun Oladakbo, told journalists yesterday, on Sunday, that the price of liquefied petroleum gas, also known as cooking gas, has gone astronomically high as terminals, as a result of a sudden increment from between 9 to 10 million naira per 20 metric tons to 14 million naira per 20 metric tons. According to him, terminal owners were hiding under the guise of high foreign exchange to increase price to further increase the suffering of the masses. Olatubosu said there was no justification for the increment as the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited still supplied the market. Oh well, we talked a bit on this one during the newspaper review of the show. If you missed it, you can always go to our YouTube page and, look back and listen to what was discussed at the time. To another business story now. Electricity distribution companies will resume distribution of prepaid meters under the Meter Assets Provides program this week. Now, this was revealed by the head metering team for Ikeja Electric, Morenikeji Amosu, at a virtual stakeholders forum. Now, while giving an update on IE's metering efforts to customers during the meeting, and also said a new set of meters had been imported under the program and deployment would resume. He added that the firm would first clear backlogs of old orders made about 2-3 months ago before attending to fresh orders. And according to him, electricity customers who had paid the old prices before the newly released prices by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission would be metered without additional payment, while fresh orders would attract new meter prices. All right. So those are the business stories that we have for you. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have entertainment and sports. Stay with us.
Welcome back. You're still watching VOP this morning. Now we're moving on to the entertainment segment of the show, and doing that for us is Kayla Abraham. Welcome, Kayla.
Good morning, Joy.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kayla.
Moses. Good morning. Happy New Week.
Oh yes, happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Well, in the world of entertainment, we've got the show on the blog. You know, it's the reality show season, so yeah, why not talk about it? Big Brother Niger, yes. So, well, 4 housemates have been evicted from the show yesterday at the live eviction show. That's serious. I mean, the show is getting more serious. 4 housemates. Well, starting off from the house guest that came in about 4 weeks ago. I think he overstayed his welcome at this point, if you ask me. Well, he has finally gone, Omashola, from the Pepper Dam season 4. Yes, Omashola is no longer in the Ulster's season as a house guest anymore. Another shocking eviction that happened yesterday was White Money. White Money was once a winner, actually. Yes, he won the Shine Your Eye season. Yes,
the
and
irony.
yes, he was the winner of the show. But I don't think
He didn't see this coming.
Yeah,
I actually
we
heard he didn't
never
even
saw it
pack his
coming.
bags. Like, he was so sure he wasn't going
Imagine
anywhere.
that. He had some type of confidence.
Of course he did.
He thought maybe he was going to come out again, the conqueror and big winner. But
He didn't do it for us this time.
no, I don't think that grace was flying with him this
No, he
season.
didn't.
Well, that was a shocking one there, but yes, the White Money is out of the game. Neo Energy, yes, Neo Energy from the lockdown season actually left the show as well. And Alex.
Neo fine boy.
Yes,
Wow.
the good-looking Neo and all of that. You know, he is no longer in the season. And Alex from Double Wahala.
Wow. All these
yes.
interesting people are out. Wow.
I mean, this season seems to be very dicey and spicy because we don't, from the way the voting polls are looking and the way this season is going, it's going to be a surprising. I think we're going to have a very, very surprising winner this season. It's going to surprise and shock all the Big Brother Niger fans. But yes, that is what I have for you on Big Brother. Yes, just to add to that, while a housemate's stay in the finals has been made sure. So cross the boss bought immunity, or no, he bought his way to to the finals.
Is that even possible?
Yes, it is possible.
Wow.
Big Brother gives them a chance if you can, from the money they get from their games, from their wager task, the money they always give them, yes, you can save up and buy your way to the finals.
Wow.
So yes, Cross was very smart. He negotiated with some, as they say, Igbo people and their
Sharp
business
guy.
ways. And he went to negotiate with some housemates, say, give me some money, I'll pay you outside the house. And then he finally gathered up 4,000 money points and bought his ways to the finals. So congratulations to Cross. He does not have to go through nominations, evictions again throughout the show up until the finals. So yes, that's it for Big Brother. Well, moving on now, we've got another interesting one. Well, the good-looking actor, now the pastor, Jimmy Odukoya, has been made the new senior pastor of the Fountain Live.
Interesting news.
Yes, church ministry.
Stuff.
Interesting, don't you think?
Actor
Well,
turned pastor.
I love it. I love it. Well, the Fountain of Life Church has named Nollywood actor Jimmy Odukoya, and this is the son of the late Taiwo and Bimbo Odukoya as the new pastor of the ministry. That's right. So his appointment was announced yesterday during the church service.
Okay.
And this development followed the passing of the immediate past senior, which was his dad as well, Taiwo Odukoya. Yes, who breathed his last, unfortunately, in the US on August 17th.
All right, that's interesting news there.
Yes.
Interesting news. We will wish him the very best as he takes up the mantle to lead the ministry going forward. It's a tough one, I must say.
It is, it is. He has been acting in this capacity ever since. Like, he has always been a pastor in the church. So I think now is,
So we wish him well. We wish him well. I was thinking that we'll talk a little bit about the Mobad issue. We do the Mobad's.
It's still
death.
trending.
Yes, it is. It is.
Trending.
Now, Bella Shmurda, his friend, just put out a message that he will go street. He said he will go street to avenge Mobad's death. That's Bella Shmurda.
Yeah, another Nigerian
put out
artist.
a tweet on his X page,
Yes.
saying, "Look, that if the police doesn't, do the needful, that he will
legally
go all out."
or
Well, we
illegally.
don't know what to expect now.
take
because,
laws into his hands.
let's just hope the
But I don't
police
think that's
actually.
advisable, though.
Well,
You
let's
should
just
let the police do their job.
believe that the police will do the needful, do the proper investigation. All right, thank you very much, Kayla Abraham, for taking
Thank
us
you,
into
Kayla.
the world of entertainment. We'll take a break. When we come back, sports comes up next.
Welcome back. It's still VOP this morning. Now delving into the world of sports, we have James Adoye in the studio. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Joy. Good morning, Moses. In the world of sports, it's actually a busy one for everybody, both in the world of football and athletics. But we'll start from on Friday, where we had the Bayern Munich and Bayern Leverkusen, where they played a 2-2 draw for 90 minutes. And moving on to, before we come to the weekend football actions, let's start with our very own Nigerian sprinter, Tobi Amusan. She was involved in a Diamond League trophy competition yesterday, 100-meter hurdles, where she came champion in 12.33 seconds. We had issues doubting her ability to come back after the old drug allegation and doping test before going for the World Athletic Champions in Budapest. But now she came out strong and coming out victorious. From my expression after the race, she was fully proud. You know, when people doubted you and you came out and proved doubters wrong. That was the emotion she had all over her face after the race, and it's actually a very good one.
I told you so.
I told you so. You guys didn't believe me. And doing the whole allegation, and when she came out 7th in the last race, people doubted and came out and said, okay, it was a fluke. She can't do it again. She was just lucky for the first 2 times, and she came out and proved everybody wrong again. And congratulations to her.
Congrats.
And we will wish many more championship races, many more champions after this one. And moving on to football, Premier League actions. We had Liverpool coming back from behind to win Wolverhampton. And the biggest shock of the weekend was Manchester United losing to Brighton at home. The game started out actually very nice, and people expected Man U to come out victorious, but all of a sudden, Man U were 3 goals down, only for Man U to lose. Now Man U lost 3, and now Man U are currently 14th on the table. Minus that, we also have Chelsea also yesterday, we were held to a goalless draw at Bournemouth. And also, Arsenal came out victorious. We conclude to round up yesterday's matches with a late goal from Leonard Trossard. The Premiership this season is actually going to be very difficult for most teams, because every team is actually kind of prepared and ready to take on anybody. Just imagine someone like Brighton defeating Manchester United at home in front of their fans. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed and see what happens this season. We also have Champions League matches coming up tomorrow and Wednesday. We will keep our fingers crossed and see who comes out well and how the competition turns out. But Man U have a lot to do. Losing 3-1 to Brighton at home in this kind of period, this season just started, and Man are already losing matches. I think it's actually a bad one. We don't even know what to say about what's going on about Man U.
You don't think they'll bounce back?
They will actually. But I think for now, the problem from Man U is actually a lot, from the club ownership to too many allegations from footballers. Their current footballers. We have Anthony issue with having sexual assault like 3 ladies, and we just settled not even fully settled Mason's Greenwood issue, where when Manchester United loaned him to Getafe for the season. But I think that's actually what is taking a toll on them, and we also have a lot of injured players. But we'll just keep our fingers crossed and see if Ten Hag can make a difference going forward. That will be that on sport, and we wish Man U a good one, and all other teams. Just also having a sad one too, but we'll come to just some other time.
Thank you, James. Thank you so much. And on that note, we draw the curtain on VOP this morning. Many thanks for staying with us. Kindly go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Okay, it is at VOP TV. Okay, it is VOP TV Live. That's on social platforms. Then on YouTube, it is Voice of the People TV. I'm Joy Adesiwa Iramosela, wishing you an amazing week.
And I am Moses Humphrey. On behalf of the team, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.